If someone were to say to you why what happened all those years ago had to have happened to you, how would you respond?
Because it was necessary.
And do you have any regrets?
I haven't done enough to please my mother.
Which mother?
Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi.
Visnjic. It's so wonderful to meet you, the mayor of Fatima. Oh my goodness. Your
Nice to meet you.
performance, so riveting. How did you prepare for your role?
Well, the whole story is biographical. It's a real story. So Arturo dos Santos was real character. There is many articles about him through the history books, and about Fatima, and I was reading as much as I could about him, and about the time in Portugal, which was a really weird time, and why was he doing what he was doing, and so it was really interesting, to study all of that. It was a really interesting time in Portugal.
Sure. Producer Rose Gangusa has said that these children, actually have become saints in Portugal, and it would have been really easy to just portray them as that. But the script and the belief was to go ahead and really tell the real story, how it was back in 1917. The children were treated with skepticism. And you as the mayor, you didn't believe them. Why do you think this is a better sort of route to go with the movie?
Well, I mean, all of us were kids before they were saints, they were just kids. They were just doing kid stuff, and one day they saw this lady showed up in front of them, and she told them, "Look, guys, I want you to come here once a month. I want to give you this message. I think it's a really beautiful message, and it's important. I would like for people to hear what I have to say." And they're like, "Okay, yeah." The lady was really nice. She was cool. She was cute. She didn't say anything bad. Everything that she said was very loving and beautiful. So why mistrust her? So when kids start talking about that, they go from that perspective, nothing else, But the adults are the ones who are creating the turmoil and everything. The politics come into play. Portugal at the time doesn't like church, distrusts church. Portugal's government is trying to brand churchgoers as basically uneducated bunch who are just against science, against the new things, technology and everything like that.
Sure.
And they're trying to get out the First World War. One of the reasons, Portugal was never part of the Second World War because they got so hurt in the First World War. So it's a very, very difficult time in Portugal at the time. So the church doesn't want to accept the story from the kids because they know government's going to oppress them even more. So all these people are going against these poor kids, but the kids are just going through the storm of these adults, and they're just giving the message of this lady who was really nice to them, So it's a really beautiful story.
That's wonderful. What do you feel is the heart of Fatima?
Well, I always like to, people like to, when I tell them what the movie is about, everybody's asking me, "Oh, so do you believe it? Do you believe in that miracle? Did it really happen?" I'm like, well, it really doesn't matter. I mean, how are you gonna dissect it scientifically? Okay, let's say we have a video of that day of the miracle. One person, that's a CGI, that never happened. This guy's gonna say, "Oh my God, it really happened." When you start scientifically dissecting it, you lose faith. What I like to think in this movie is the message that these kids are putting out. It's a message of love. It's a message of we need to love each other more. We need to pray more, and that's the message of the film.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. Your mustache in Fatima, it's quite the mustache from that era, 1970. I was 17. I was wondering if you have any mustache stories, because that looked like it was
I have many.
some time, or if you have any costuming stories. It was unique, and I love it that you're sporting it now. And in boys, I believe you, Dr. Who, you have one on too.
Well, because it's historical, In Doctor Who, I was playing Nikola Tesla, who at the time actually had mustache.
Yes.
Arturo de Santos also, when you see his pictures, you know, you can see his pictures online. You know, he also had a big mustache. At the time, the
Yes.
mustache was not like this. If you showed up like this, everybody would look weird at you. You need to have a proper mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
So we tried to build the mustache, and you know, they would send it from Rome in Italy, you know, with all my makeup artists, and we didn't like it, and then my makeup artist said, okay, this is enough, I'm gonna build the mustache right now. So he would he would lay the mustache every day. He would just cut these pieces of hair and lay them on my face every day. Like, so he would build the mustache, and he did it every day. He did it exactly the same. And I was like, you're awesome, man. You know? So it was a little bit pain in the neck because it's so itching, because they're really burly and big. So they're like kind of like constantly itching your nose. So your nose is constantly running. It's really, you know, but we had to do it. We couldn't do it without it. It wouldn't just be realistic. Everybody had a facial hair at that time.
Exactly. I knew there had to be some story behind that. Thank you. You played Dr. Luka Kovac in ER from, I believe,
in the last century, in the previous century.
A long time ago. But I had to tell you this. Here's what's crazy. I worked the last episode of ER in Chicago.
Oh, really?
As a background actor. I was just getting into this. And so I remember the day, actually. It was November 12th, 2008. And I'm in a small little scene. I think I walked past John Stamos, and you don't even know it's me. But anyway, I was wondering what you remember about coming to our city of Chicago when you were filming.
Oh my God. I was on a show for about 8 years, and we traveled 4 times a year to Chicago. So I've been to Chicago, like, you know, so many times. I love the city, really love the city. We kind of like, for us, that was a little like vacation going to Chicago, because we would get the scripts in advance. So we would be able to prepare really well before we would get to the city. So we were able to relax and film. So I remember, you know, beautiful friendships. I remember cold. My God, it was cold on these exteriors. Sometimes in the middle of winter, we would be in our LA coats, because that's how we filmed in LA. So you can only add certain layers underneath. You can't do much more, because you're gonna look like a teddy bear. And it would be freezing. You wouldn't be able to pronounce words.
Oh, I know that.
No, I know, you know, yeah. But it was love Chicago.
Wonderful. So George Clooney, I know that he had welcomed you, and I'd read that on your first shooting, first day. Have you had many conversations, or some conversations with him afterwards about ER? Or have you talked to him afterwards?
No. I mean, look, we would see George here and there on social occasions, or he used to work in Warner Brothers. I probably still is, and you know, very, very nice guy. It was a big deal that he welcomed me when I came there, just to say, look, man, these people are really nice people. They're gonna help you. You're not gonna feel like an outsider. You know, they're all gonna be really nice to you and supportive. And it was exactly like that. But it's always easier when somebody like that tells you all these things. You know, you kind of walk in with a little bit more confidence, and you feel just a little bit easier. So I really, that was such a great gesture on his part. You know, he could have just walked by. I mean, I didn't even know he knows who I would be. So really, really nice guy.
I know we're a resident of LA for like 20 years. Then you moved back to Croatia. I had read the reason you moved back, and I'm hoping this is true, is because your kids missed your grandparents. Is that true?
Well, it's close to true. We moved to England, not to Croatia, but we moved so we can be kind of like in between two worlds more. You know, I really love the States, and it's my second home. I think I lived more in LA than in any other place. You know, I lived in my hometown for 18 years, but in LA I lived 21. Wow. So England is kind of between Croatia and LA. I kind of feel I can zip in any direction. And lately work's been literally all over the world. You know, Fatima was in Portugal. I did Doctor Who in Wales, in United Kingdom. You know, I did The Boys in Toronto, which is coming out in 7 days. So really being in LA is not advantage anymore because, you know, like when I was on ER, we were 8 years in LA, but now it's less and less filming happening in actually California. So we decided, you know, we can be closer so kids can really see grandparents. I'm actually there right now with my mom and dad and the kids.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I want to wish you all the luck in the world with Fatima, and I don't really think you need any luck because it's just such a beautiful film. I just love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Faith begins at the edges of understanding.